Hey y'all, in today's video, I'm going to share how I've created sort of a block schedule for our homeschool days. Let's get into it. First of all, a little bit of general housekeeping. If you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy you found my channel. I'm Kaela. I'm a second generation homeschool mama to 4 girls. I'm currently homeschooling my 5th grader and my 2nd grader, and I have a toddler and a baby who are along for the ride. We are well into our 7th year of homeschooling, and in this space, I love to chat all things homeschool, all things mama life. So if you enjoy those types of videos, I hope that you'll consider subscribing and sticking around. In my last video, I shared how I decide how frequently to cover any given subject or curricula or resource that I've selected for our homeschool year. So if you missed it, go ahead and watch that video first. I'll put it in the cards and the description box, and then come on back to this video because we are talking about our block schedule. There are various stages to me planning out our homeschool year and then breaking that down into our homeschool weeks and then breaking that down further into our homeschool days. And so I've been sharing sort of the process of how I'm doing that this year. I also have a whole playlist on homeschool planning. So if you are looking for more homeschool planning ideas and videos, or if you just kind of want to see what I've done over the years with my kids, what's worked and what we've changed, go ahead and check out that playlist. I will link it below as well. So once I've selected our curricula and our resources, and then I have made our year plan as far as trying to plan in advance what weeks we are going to take off during the school year, my next step is to actually look at my curricula and my resources, and if they are not already broken down for me into 36 weeks. A lot of resources and curricula are already broken down that way, but I happen to use some that aren't. So my next step is to actually look and plan out the individual resource or curriculum and see how often do I need my child to touch this? How often do we need to actually cover this material in order to complete this workbook or this level of math or whatever the case may be by the end of our school year. So once I have a good idea of how frequently, how often we need to be touching each of our subjects or each resource that I have planned to use for the year, my next step is to actually break that down into a week. What does that look like? How are we actually going to implement all of these wonderful, beautiful, cool things that I have picked for us to use? I want to make sure that we're actually using these things, right? What's working really well for us is what I would call a block schedule. I hope I'm using that term correctly. I'm not sure if everyone means the same thing when they say block schedule, but I basically have our days divided up into time blocks. We don't have a set start time or a set finish time, but we have these blocks of time that are generally going to be 30 minutes to an hour in length. And each block sort of has a theme of what we're going to be covering in that time block. So we have what I call heart time. I know a lot of homeschool families would refer to it as morning time. And we are doing different things for heart time every day. I will show you a detailed look at that in just a moment. All of the activities for heart time are group activities. So they're things that we're doing together as a family. Heart time lasts anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. Then we take a short break, like 10 minutes, and we go into our second block of our homeschool day. Now, the next 2 blocks are for math and language arts, and they're each about 30 to 45 minutes. And I make sure that they have a break in between. So heart time, break, math or language arts, break, math or language arts. And then by that point, we are ready for our lunch break most of the time. So we take a nice long leisurely lunch break. We usually do a quick tidy or reset of our space. One of us might need to wash some dishes or just clean up whatever lunch mess was made in the kitchen. And then we might need to reset our homeschool space, clear our desks, put things away, and just sort of ready ourselves for our final homeschool block of the day, which is our group block. The group block is the longest block of the day. I give us a full hour to do our group work. Our group time block is when we might be covering history, when we might be covering science or social studies or geography. We might be doing a novel study together. Whatever we happen to be covering as a group, family style in our homeschool, our group block is going to be when we cover it. I purposefully made that the last block of the day because generally speaking, our group time, whatever we happen to be reading or watching or learning about together, that is really everyone's favorite part of the day. It's when we have the most fun. We have lively discussions, we're doing videos, we're doing crafts, we're doing hands-on learning, we're covering the most rich content. So saving that for the end of the day, saving the best for last, so to speak, generally keeps everybody motivated, and yeah, it's just a nice way to end our day learning together. Okay, so I think I need another disclaimer here. Our homeschool days tend to be long days. I know that that is not the vibe that everybody wants in the homeschool community. There is sometimes this pull to be finished by lunch or to get all of the lessons done in an hour or 2 hours. And I understand why that appeals to so many homeschool families. I also understand why it might be necessary, because if your child is involved in a lot of extracurricular things, if they have online classes or in-person classes, or they're in sports, or they have music performances, if they're involved in a lot of these other activities that are valuable and educational in their own right, then it becomes necessary to really limit how much time you are putting into formal sit down, table work, desk work, formal lessons, whatever you want to call it. My children are not currently involved in any extracurriculars that really pull us away from the home on a regular, consistent basis. We also have a 2-year-old and an infant. So honestly, leaving the house is sometimes more work than it is worth. That is just the season of life that we are in. Of course, before y'all come at me, we do get out of the house, we do socialize, we are active members in our community, but for the most part, Monday through Friday, school is here. We are here. So that allows us multiple hours on any given weekday to invest into our formal learning and our academics. I also have kids who are old enough and developmentally ready. They have the stamina to do longer days in our homeschool. That didn't happen overnight. We have built that stamina over time and over several years. So if you're just starting out, or if you have really young kids who are like in pre-K, kinder, first grade, you're probably not going to need, 3 or 4 hours a day for your homeschooling. Part of my planning process when I'm looking at how am I actually going to implement the curricula and the resources, a huge part of that process is knowing our personal limitations and our needs. How much can we feasibly and reasonably handle in any given day? And so right now, at 5th grade and at 2nd grade, my kids can reasonably handle about 3 to 4 hours in a day for us to cover everything. And really only like 2 hours or less of that, those middle 2 time blocks for math and language arts, those time periods are when my kids are at a desk or at a computer and they're very focused. That's when they're doing their most challenging work. The hard time block and the group time block, which are the bookends of our day, how we start and how we finish, those time periods are where we're having fun, we're having engaging conversations, we're moving our bodies, we're playing games. So I guess if you really want to be technical about it, my kids are doing about 2 hours or less per day of like focused academic work. And then around an hour and a half to 2 hours of sort of our lighter work, more enrichment stuff, our PE, our Spanish, our faith-based studies, our unit studies, history, geography, social studies, science, art, all of the stuff that's more content-based. And while the things that we're covering in those 2 time blocks are still very engaging and sometimes even challenging for my kids, I would say they definitely require less mental strain and focus. They're generally a little bit lighter, a little bit more fun. I feel the need to explain this because when you tell people that you are doing 4 hours of homeschooling a day with a 5th grader and a 2nd grader, some people, some people get a little bit judgy about it. I'd love to hear from y'all in the comments. How long is your average homeschool day? How many hours are you counting as formal learning time? So I just want to show you the basic schedule that I came up with for our heart time for each school day, Monday through Friday. And the reason that I'm focusing on sharing the heart time lineup with you guys is because our heart time block has the most moving parts and the most variables. Those other time blocks are pretty consistent. The 2 middle time blocks are just whatever we're doing for math and language arts that day. Pretty self-explanatory, pretty much just open and go to the next lesson type of situation. Then our group time block, the last one of the day, it's going to vary some, but not nearly as much as the heart time one. So we have our manners curriculum. I want to make sure that we're touching that at least twice a week. Every Monday, we introduce a new manner. We work on practicing that manner all week, and then we have a little review on Friday, a little chat session where we can discuss the manner again and then talk about different things that happened in the week that maybe we could have handled a little bit better with that particular manner we're working on, or any areas or situations where people did very well practicing that particular manner. Our workout, so our physical education, physical exercise, I want to make sure that we are doing 3 times a week. So I have that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're currently really enjoying a resource here on YouTube for homeschool families. It is a homeschool family channel where all they do is share really great family fitness videos. So I will link that down below in case you are interested in trying something like that out with your kids. It's been a huge hit in our house. So that is what we have scheduled in. And the videos that they share are about 10 minutes long. So I have the times on each of these things, and that really helps me understand how much we can realistically get to within my goal of no more than 45 minutes per day for this time block. The next thing I have scheduled in at twice a week is recitations and copy work. I'm giving us 10 minutes on Monday and 10 minutes on Wednesday for that. I have Spanish twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then I have some of our faith-based studies sprinkled in here as well. On Tuesday, I do some one-on-one time with my 2nd grader. And on Friday, I do some one-on-one time with my 5th grader. And this just allows me some time to carefully one-on-one work with that child on something that is very individual to them. So for example, with my 5th grader, I've been working with her on like some puberty and sex ed resources and books and things like that. And then with my 2nd grader, we are working on her reading and any like novel studies or book studies that are individual to her that my 5th grader is not participating in. That's what I'm using that time for. But I can always swap it out for anything. If one of them needs a little bit of extra help with their math that particular week, we can use that time for that. And then at the bottom, I have my totals for the day. So you can see Monday, we're at 30 minutes, Tuesday, 45, Wednesday 35, Thursday 45, Friday 45. Having this time block set aside for all these extra little small things that I want to make sure we're getting to consistently, it's really helped me a lot to actually plan this out, put it on paper. Then I don't really have to think about this much week to week because this lineup doesn't change. The only time it would change is, let's say, we have a random Tuesday off because we have doctor's appointments or dentist appointments. That's fine. I can feel confident in skipping the entire heart time block on any given day. Because I have such a good rotation of everything, I know that it won't be more than a couple days before we circle back. If we skip Spanish on Tuesday, that's not a big deal. We're going to be doing it again on Thursday. And our other time blocks of the day, not heart time, but our math and language arts time blocks, and then our group work block at the end of the day, they also have a time allotment. We set a timer. Okay, you're going to work on math for 40 minutes. We're going to work on science together for an hour. It helps all of us to stay more focused, to stay more on track, and to know that the end is in sight. We're going to get a break, or we're going to be done when that timer goes off. This is actually the timer that we've been using this school year. I think I have shown this definitely on my Instagram. Not sure if I've shown it here, but it's one of my favorite things that I purchased for the school year. This visual timer is super affordable on Amazon. I will link it below. I love that it has this like soft, squishy silicone exterior. My girls love that it is a rainbow theme. You also have the option to make the alarm audible or just visible. So if you do that, it would just be a light that flashes and it won't make any sound. And it has this really nice durable magnet on the back as well. So I actually can hang this on our magnetic chalkboard. We can all see it really easily and be keeping track of how much time we have left to finish whatever time block we are working in. The other great thing about this timer is you don't need any batteries. It does come with its own charger, and the charge lasts a super long time, often a week or more before we have to plug this guy in. This is not the first visual timer that I tried from Amazon. I ordered at least 2 or 3 before this, and they required batteries, they were clunky to use, and they ended up dying out on me and breaking. I actually almost gave up on visual timers because I just kept getting defective ones. But this one has been fantastic. So like I said, I'll link this below in case you are in the market for one. I really hope you found this video to be helpful. If you guys have any questions about our block schedule or specifically heart time or any of the resources we're using or any questions at all, feel free to drop them in the comments below and I will do my best to help you guys out.